I'm gonna talk for a little bit, and then we'll practice together, and then we'll have a chance for comments or questions. I'll keep time. We end the meditation portion with a bell just to indicate that it's finishing. People, uh, if you need to go at any point, it's not a problem for us. So this week, a dear old friend of mine entered hospice. This transition into hospice, as you know, signals a major shift from for him managing a long-standing chronic disease to living his last few moments free from actively fighting off the disease now, a disease that will soon take his life. So he's saying his goodbyes and taking his final breaths. So I've been thinking about the breath and the law of impermanence and how things end and come and go. And the breath itself and this concept of the law of impermanence are really two foundational aspects of mindfulness practice. So I'd like to reflect on that with you today. Um, the law of impermanence is not a kind of abstract teaching meant solely for thinking about and reflecting on it. It's a foundational part of our lived experience as well as the actual practice. In mindfulness-based stress reduction and the other kind of secular-based mindfulness programs, the breath is often introduced as an anchor, a stable anchor, or a neutral place to return to when the mind wanders off. And that helps to regulate our attention, and from the research we see also to reduce stress when we're able to do that, to recognize the mind has gone off and then to bring it back. And we use the breath often to do that. From the perspective articulated by the Buddhist scholar Bhikkhu Analayo, who I've quoted before, he has a book called Mindfulness of Breathing, and he highlights that the breath is more than just an anchor in the practice. It's a teacher, he says. When met with sustained, non-interfering awareness, his term, the breath becomes a direct pathway into understanding impermanence, as well as reactivity and the nature of suffering itself. So this idea of impermanence is really important. It comes up a lot. Everything changes, everything. I've talked about impermanence before because it is a kind of a very fundamental understanding and teaching. In her poem, Blackwater Woods, Mary Oliver poetically expresses this sometimes difficult reality of impermanence. This is an excerpt in Blackwater Woods. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go. While poetry can help us reflect on and understand impermanence, we also experience it very directly every time we practice mindfulness. A breath arises and passes away. A sensation appears and then fades. A thought forms, lingers for a time, and then dissolves. A sound enters our awareness and disappears. Analayo emphasizes that mindfulness of breathing begins with simple knowing, knowing the in-breath as an in-breath and the out-breath as an out-breath, and without trying to shape or improve the experience or analyze the experience. And this approach closely aligns with the non-striving or non-judgmental attitude emphasized in mindfulness-based stress reduction. Just taking a stance of simply noticing the breath serves a deeper purpose. It allows us to see impermanence clearly and without distortion. But yeah, this is how it is. Things come and things go. And as we observe the breath coming and going, impermanence is no longer an idea, but it's a fact. And it's a fact that we experience in our bodies. The breath shows up again and again, and that all experience we're taught by that arises and passes on its own. So, despite this truth that we all really know in our heart, we often live as though things should remain stable at all times. We cling to what we experience as pleasant, we resist what we experience as uncomfortable, and we try to hold on to moments we wish would last forever. The Buddha taught that this resistance to change is at the heart of our suffering. I like the analogy of the sunset. You know, you're walking on the beach and you're watching the sun, and some part of you wants to just freeze frame it. And often we do, we take a photo or something, but you can see it physically, that moment disappearing over the horizon. So mindfulness practice invites a different kind of relationship with everything that's changing. By observing impermanence directly, we learn to meet change with awareness rather than with resistance. Analayo points out that as mindfulness deepens, reactivity naturally softens, giving rise to equanimity, a steady, balanced presence that remains open amid changing conditions, not trying to stop them. In the scientific mindfulness language, this non-judgmental awareness is understood to promote emotional regulation and resilience. In classical Buddhist terms, it promotes the weakening of craving and aversion. Different vocabularies, but the same understanding. So as mindfulness becomes more continuous for us, the breath reveals multiple dimensions of experience about the body, about feeling tone, about the mind itself, and the changes that are taking place. Impermanence can feel unsettling. You know, we want pleasant experiences to last and difficult ones to end quickly. Yet impermanence is also what makes healing and change possible. It allows grief to soften, habits to loosen up, and new responses to emerge. Mindfulness teaches us to meet each moment knowing it will not last. And this is not a problem, it's an opportunity. When we remember that all things change, we may hold on to each moment, or we may hold each moment with greater care and humility and gratitude for the moment that it is. As mindfulness deepens, the breath itself becomes more subtle. We may begin to notice that breathing happens on its own. There is no controller behind it. This direct observation, emphasized by Analayo, opens insight into non-ownership or letting go. So as we sit today, I invite you to notice impermanence in simple, subtle ways. Notice the changing quality of the breath. Notice how sensations in the body arise and pass. Notice how the mind moves from distraction to clarity and back again. And so let's practice together. We begin by settling into a posture that feels steady and at ease, perhaps in sitting position or lying down position or standing. And if it's comfortable for you, allowing the eyes to close, or you can just soften the gaze or lower the gaze. And let the breath just be as it is. There's no need to manipulate it. And take a moment now to notice that you're breathing without you needing to push it, force it, hold on to it. Just recognize breathing as it already is happening. And to do that, you might bring attention to where you experience the breath most clearly in the body, the point of the nostrils, the chest, the abdomen, or simply a sense of overall breathing in the body. And that may change at different times when you attend to the breath. But right now, just noticing where you can experience the breath directly in the body. You might observe the natural rhythm of the breath. Notice how an in breath begins, builds, and ends. Notice how the out breath releases, fades away. Again, we're not trying to create anything. Simple observation, present moment awareness. Each breath arises, each breath passes away. And if the mind wanders, it's no problem. Just notice where it went and gently return to the breath. If a thought arises, watch the thought pass. If a physical sensation in the body arises, notice it and let it pass on. And notice how the changing nature of each experience. Nothing needs to be fixed in this moment. Just noticed. Notice where the mind is right now. Perhaps there's a separation, a fragmentation. The body sitting here in this moment, the mind back in yesterday or tomorrow. Or just being pulled into some thought stream after hearing a sound and then wondering and telling a story about the sound. It's natural for us to do this. Just it's not about stopping it, it's just noticing and then making the decision to come back to this moment, this breath, this in breath, this out breath. This noticing of change, this willingness to let things come and go on their own without you fiddling with them, resisting, holding on, pushing away. This kind of noticing is the heart of the practice. It's not mindfulness unless it's non judgmental awareness. usually toward the end of our sitting practice, I'll read a poem. Instead of reading a poem today, I want to read a few quotes from different wisdom traditions. They all speak about impermanence. And I want to show that that's an important concept across traditions. Talked about the Buddhist tradition. In Hinduism, that which comes and goes, which is impermanent, brings no happiness to the wise. In the Hebrew scriptures, for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. The Christian scriptures say, you are a mist that appears for a while and then vanishes. Islam says everyone upon the earth will perish and there will remain the face of your Lord. In Taoism, all things flourish and each returns to its root. Indigenous wisdom traditions. Everything the power of the world does is done in a circle. In the Aboriginal traditions, the land is alive with stories, and the stories move with time. Across these diverse traditions, impermanence is not presented as loss or something to reject, but as a teacher of humility, a corrective to clinging, a gateway to compassion, a call to presence and ethical living. And mindfulness practice, especially awareness of the breath, offers a way to experience this shared wisdom directly, beyond any kind of belief or doctrine, just through direct experience. If the eyes have been closed or cast down, just raising them up now and gently just reconnecting with the screen and this community in which we are practicing. We have a few minutes for comments or questions. Ashley, it's good to see you. Anita said you might be joining today. Good to have you here. So any comments or questions? Or there's Julie. I haven't seen you in a while. Well, if no questions, any answers, that would be good. What's your experience with impermanence in terms of struggle with that or no problem?
I liked the fact that I started thinking about each moment as like a little death, and then each one was another opportunity, and it just felt so peaceful. Yeah, thank you. That's all I got.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Yeah.
Won't be with you next week, but we'll see you a week after.
Okay, that sounds good. Glad you're here. By the way, this community is a lot larger than this particular gathering like today. And we average somewhere around, 12 to 15 people each week. But there's actually, I looked this morning, I think it was 261 people on the mailing list. So we know some people are not able to join at this time. And they're like checking out the YouTube page and watching the sessions there, or coming at another time, and so. But it's worth noting that there is a community out there as well as what we can see before us right now, practicing together. So, anyone else? A comment or question, insight, wonderings? Well, I'm going to turn it to Tammy then. Many of you know Tammy, the Mindfulness Center of Atlanta admin. She's going to do a very brief commercial.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Just real quick, wanted to remind everybody that we've got a couple of things coming up in February, both related to grief. So if you are dealing with any type of loss or grief issues, old grief or new, check those out on our website. One is going to be a half-day workshop in Decatur, Georgia on Sunday, February 15th. And the second one will be a retreat weekend that Mark's leading. The first one, Mark is a featured presenter at a mindfulness and presence workshop. The second item that I mentioned is the weekend retreat at Ignatius House, February 27th. And then in April, I think our February MBSR retreat is full, right, Mark? So the next one would be our spring, which will be April 17th through 19th. And then we'll have our next 8-week course online. It'll be daytime, 10 to 12 for 8 weeks. That'll begin in April as well.
Thanks, Tammy. I mean, if you do want to go on the retreat, it's worth putting yourself on the wait list. We often do get some cancellations late sometimes too. So, and that one afternoon grief, we're partnering with the Grief House Indicator. If you don't know them, they're worth looking up. They're doing some really nice work, and we're delighted to be partnering with them for this particular event. Well, thanks everyone for being here. Good to be with you and to practice with you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Hope to join you regularly now.
Good.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.